just seems better for them. I don't know the answer to that, but I've definitely had it for the last 15 years and see it. You know, like I said, I know if I go down, I got like I still have 7 of them, so I brought 14 of them here out of my basement, and then knock on wood, I've probably only had problems. I've had problems with like 4 of them, but I mean, they just run when they're out there getting played. You
You had pretty good luck with Mylar replacements on the play fields.
Yeah, well, Donnie was laughing at me because he knows some little, I'd say anal, but not really, but a little bit. He was laughing at me. He's like, "What are you doing? You sat over there for an hour." I said, because I went the games I brought up out of my basement, which like my Kiss LE and some of that, I didn't have the Mylar in the shooter lanes, and I didn't have some Mylar in some of the kick out holes and stuff. So I did it, but right on Thursday morning, moving out here, I Mylar'd everything. And I have some. I just cut a piece, put it into the shooter lane, cut a piece, put it around, or where the ball kicks out of some places, and it'll help save it. I have some like in the box, you just cut it. You know, you put a piece, you pull it'll come out, it'll come back off without doing anything to the play field, but it'll save. You know, it's like Stranger Things. It's got that kick hole across. You just put a strip of mylar across there where that ball travels across there. So you're not gonna. I have seen them already where it's been a line. And another one that does that is also that as we talked about before is that Deadpool, that kick out hole on that thing from always coming across there. You need to put a piece of mylar on there to stop stop that wear from getting on there. And then if you, especially if you don't replace the balls over time, and the balls get a little dingy, then it'll start even wanting to wear that even a little more without having some mylar on there. And I know Dan talked about keeping the game clean. Uh, there's a couple aspects of that. I mean, I know I keep mine. I always like to keep them waxed up, and that it makes them play better. But we used to get some games years ago. We did a lot of back in the day. This is another thing. We used to get containers of games from overseas. That was a big thing back 2000, like 2000, 2000. We'd get contain that Elvira, that scared stiff it's over there. It's mine. That came off of a container back 15 years ago. It's an over. If you look at the coin door will be a 3-slot coin door. That's one way you can easily tell. Or it'll be a 1 slot that came from somewhere overseas. I don't think this one was I don't think this one was an overseas. And sometimes people change the coin doors, but like that one, them over there. There's a road show which I actually bought over there. It's a overseas game, but we used to get them. All you had to really do, you'd have to get in there and change the power off the transformer. You do a couple jumper wires. I remember my wife made me a book because I had all these wires made up, and we'd get 40 games from a container. We'd change all the jumpers, get them back up onto the 110 from the 220 for the. But we would get some of them games. They would be so dirty. It was almost like I don't know what they were doing, but it would almost like it would preserve the playfield sometimes. I mean, it'd be so dirty that ball was just going over the dirt, and you would take that and clean it. I bought a World Cup soccer. It was like one of my early games off my buddy Rick, and he brought. He said, "Oh, Marvin, it would be nice." I looked. I'm like, man, this thing looks like it was laid out by a door and just threw sand inside of it. It was off, but it was like one of the most beautiful games when I was done with it, cleaned it. It was just like something about it would preserve the play fields. It wouldn't get to wear when they were so bad. But we used to see all kind of. They would use beer cans, like because you couldn't get parts on like the tray. Like somebody would pull this out, and if it had the trails underneath with the plastic, they might drop it or do something. They would like ribbon a beer can in there to cut it and make it whatever they could do to because they really couldn't get parts. You know, you thought it was bad here, they couldn't get nothing over there. So you never know what you were going to see. And we would get. I remember we'd get all these things. The mice would be dead inside of them. Wires would be chewed in half. They made nests. It was just. It was some crazy stuff. You never knew what you. But I mean, we got a lot of good games from over there. It was. I mean, back in then, we could get games. My friend, I was getting, and I was with Trent too. Trent was another one that would get games from overseas. Everybody knows Trent. He still plays a lot of the tournaments and stuff. And average price he was getting them games was between $400 and $500 a piece. And you could get Twilight Zones, you could get Adams Families, everything. That was by the time when they were here shipped, you'd had about $500 a piece in the games. And you'd get 40 containers, you could get 70 games in a container. And these guys were, then towards the end, it started really, in the beginning when you were getting, they were really nice games. But then towards the end, it started getting, each one is a little further, got a little worse, a little bit more beat up. But I don't know if there's any of that. I don't think there's any more of that stuff going on now. But it used to be, but that was a big thing back from like 2000 to 2010, because, I mean, I remember when we were up, this is off topic too, but we went to Pinball Expo in 2000, I think it was 9. And Stern was about ready to close. Almost ready to shut the doors. I'll guarantee you they were within a month of closing that down. And because we went up there and we were doing it at Expo, they brought in like 4 people to act like the place was running in their facility. I mean, just to show it. And we were looking, we happened to go over the site, because me and Rick, we would help Mike Pasek at the time. We were looking at, we'd help to watch the tickets at the door. So we'd go to the Stern, we went in there, we were looking at the build sheet, they were doing NBAs. Like the NBAs, and he just came off like doing 24 and that stuff that was not very good. And the NBA, they did, I think, 45 games for like the whole summer. It's like we counted, it was like 45. It was on the sheet, it said like 45 NBAs, and it was like. And then I really still don't know what happened. And then like the next year they did, it was right around then they did Iron Man. Went right around in that, somewhere in that, and then it just started going. But that era when they did Buck Hunter, 24, and that's CSI, and them, they were an NBA. It was about ready to. They were really about ready to close. That was because I had been going up to Expo, and you've seen the factory, and they, all these people here. Then you go there, there's nobody. It's closed, and it's like, and then something. Then all of a sudden it just. The COVID, of course, it blew up then. But even after that, when they had that new investor come in, and it just I can't explain how it took off, but it just did at that time. It really took off. But they had to be real close to shutting it down. But that's all I have. If anybody else, any other questions? Like I said, don't be afraid of it. If somebody wants you to, I guess, operate a game, while they do anything, keep pinball alive. That's the way I looked at it. Always try to do something to keep the hobby going, Because the way the old operators were getting rid of stuff, I mean, they didn't want to mess with it, so somebody had to do it, because they're not going to buy. They still don't buy any. I mean, even if they think it's none of the old school operators are going to buy it. So it was only the enthusiasts that finally started putting some games out, again.
So do you think it's the industry is moving towards just like limited run type play fields, or do you think it's eventually all just going to become like big LCD boards?
No, I don't think it'll ever be that. There's something about, I've played so many virtual pins and stuff. I think there's a place for that. I think learning the rules helped. I actually think that's one thing that kind of helped Stern too, back when they came out with the classic pinballs. You had Medieval Madness and all that stuff. They came out like on Xbox and stuff like that. I think some of that generation, which is probably like your generation, started playing that on these Xbox. Oh, wonder where I can really go find that and play that. Well, what can I do because I've still yet to. I mean, it's close, but it's just not the same. I mean, even that P3 stuff to me. I mean, I get it. I mean, they put the modules in, and you got the front play field. I just still don't think it's quite the same as people like the mechanical part of it. I mean, I don't think it'll ever go to a total. No, I don't see it. I mean, they tried that with the Pinball 2000. I mean, Pinball 2000s were kind of cool. I mean, with that in the back, it's kind of interactive. You could shoot. They've got the Star Wars over there. I mean, the Martian one was pretty good, Revenge from Mars. But I mean, I think some of them, I don't ever, I don't think so. I mean, maybe one day, but I don't see that in the future. I think they're doing the big screens. People like to watch. The screen brings the person in, sitting there playing with the other person playing, and it also brings other people walking by, and they start, oh, look at that, and they're looking at it, and they're watching you play. And that's why I think this next deal, when they put it on the TV all the time, too, will help. You know, when you can run the cable. Or, I think it would be even cool if they would. I know Jack has the cameras here. Why not have that camera down here, up here, facing on that, and just be able to stream it like that? I mean, to me, that would be that. It would almost be just as good. You know, just you could stream the games and be built in. If you could make some kind of just a camera right off top, you know, it'd be because they make the cages like for the tournaments and stuff, where the GoPros on them and stuff. Just have it right built in, and you stream it right on the Insider Connect or something. It would be. I think that would help. I think that would bring another level to it. It would be easy for people. Think you could cast it to the TVs or whatever. Like if you have an arcade or another big event, it'd be. I think people like to watch that. So because you can't really, if you got all these games lined up, you can't get around. It's hard to watch. You can watch it. That's why the screen, that part of it, then you can watch both. See what he's doing. Oh, okay. Then it might help you. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's shooting over here to get that. He's doing. You can learn. The players learn more too that way. I mean, I'm a decent player. I can play these games like the back of my hand because I grew up with them. I know all the rules of this, scared stiff, all that. But the new ones, I mean, I know some of the rules, but I don't know the rules like some of these, like these other people. I asked this guy the other day, and I have a Batman 66 at my arcade, and he's got 5 billion. And usually, the score on Insider Connect for the month will be like, 800. It's a pretty good score, 500. And he goes, why? He goes, I had 68 billion. 60. How long was he playing? But he started telling me, well, you got to have this guy. You get bookworm here on the TV mode. Then you complete him. Then you get Mr. Freeze here. That he freezes all your bonuses. Then this guy here, you get Egghead. He does this. I'm like, I don't even want to go into all this. I can't. I don't know all these games. I can't. I'm just not gonna. I mean, I think it's great if you own one game in your home or 2 or 3 because they're so deep. It's great, but. There's something to say too about some of the Valley Williams stuff where it still gets to where it was. They were deep, but you really understood. You could understand exactly what you kind of needed to do, and they had multipliers and whatever. But it was still hard to obtain that. You might play it a year and get it once, like on Medieval. You might play that game a year to get Ruler of the Realms to try to get all that. I mean. And same way with Mark, but you knew after 20 games what you needed to do, what it took to do that. But and it's still fun to this day. I mean, people still play that game like it's crazy. I mean, and it's not as near as deep as some of the stuff nowadays. But there's still not a problem with the games being deep like that. But I'm not that kind of a player. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Hopefully, if you have any other questions, you see me about operating anything or doing any games or anything. I've seen a lot over the years. All righty. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Now I can try to put this thing to get it back out there. Now I can try to put it together. Yeah. All right. I was trying to do it on the last one, but the amp was here. Like I said, the parts just won't change. Some of them do. Get that on there, you think? Yeah, right here. See, that whole back broke off.
So on the flipper sleeve, do you remember were these just the screws or were there nuts on the backside.
It had nuts. I
Okay.
actually tried to put them on
Okay,
but,
good.
but they're both like that on it. You don't need to put them nuts on.
It's just that after all the play, they eventually back themselves out. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, because this had the nuts on it. I didn't know if you needed any of the other parts. I kept the bag of all the parts.
No,
Because it was
this is
it was a complete used one.
Complete used unit. No. Yeah, see,
And
like
this
this
one, I don't know
is.
if you were missing the rubber stop here, if it was slanted.
No, I put it in that one. I put it when I was trying to do that one. See how much different it is? This is I was trying to put it in the stern one, and I was like, well, that's okay because it's the stern longer there. But then when I got to this, see how much different this one. See, I would have went with the one less bowl, but then I was like, I didn't realize the sterns were that much different. Yeah, it just it's on. It just snapped it. It's like over the rate on the game. Oh. I have that. I mean, yeah, 'cause it's in there. I mean, it just snapped that whole piece right. Over metal piece right off there. It's like, yeah, it's just. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. There it is.
That's such a clean break too.
Just snap that thing right off. We'll go over there and play. And I played it this morning over there. I was over there playing. I was like, oh, I'll play this, blah, blah,
Yeah, I
blah.
played it last night.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
I bought that off somebody, so I threw it in. They had it for $5. You don't ever see them. That's off the Jurassic Park Day to Eat.
Oh,
And believe it or not, when we get stuff from overseas, it might not have that on it. It might, who knows where it went. Sometimes it'd be broke and they put a button in it. They just get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, just throw whatever the hell. I mean, that stuff was like, it was almost like Christmas time. You didn't know what the hell
you already gonna get.
You know what I mean? You really did. You didn't know what you were
Open
getting.
that container for the first
Oh,
time.
it's like
You're like, oh man, I'm gonna be here for a couple weeks.
changing power.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have all these. I remember all these fish tails. Remember, Trent never wanted. See, and Trent would. I'd go down there and get games off. He said containers coming in. He didn't want to mess with the fish tails, whitewater.
Too much going on. Too
Well,
many
no,
ran
it
over
wasn't
in.
worth as much.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth as much either. He'd be like, yeah, take them. Hey, whatever, 14, 15, or get rid of them, whatever. 13, you know, whatever. But you know, Twilight Zones, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, wanted all that stuff. Yeah, wanted all that. You know, they were worth so much more. You know. But them were the days back doing that, the container stuff. So another guy that used to come here, Jimmy Z, he was from Cleveland. He used to do containers a lot too. See, there's another type. I was putting them on this bracket. Is Chris coming today?
He got back to me. He said he was gonna be here every day.
He's
He was gonna be here every day.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I'll be there. I just got a couple meetings. I'll be there. I'll take you guys to lunch. We'll go to supper. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
he's not coming,
so, dude.
right?
It was like, I don't know. It's
First
like
problem
we
was
didn't even handshake on whatever my role was in this thing, and I'm like, he goes, oh, I'll have somebody there. I'm like, well, then nobody here. So.
Right?
And the only game that was giving us a fit was the one that Calvin brought.
At least he took it too, right?
I can still congratulate you for
He
it.
took that game. That's all. They